We are good with these? All right, just remember vertical angles. Vertical angles are important. Remember, bell work's important, right? Most of the time, you'll see bell work questions show up on tests. So always study your bell works. And in fact, that's a lot of times when you get something wrong, I'm like, you might want to check out your bell work because it's probably the exact same question. All right, what questions do we have from the homework? Sabrina.
For number 22 and 23.
22 and 23. Why did I feel like, was one of those a proof?
Yeah.
Why did I feel like I wasn't going to give you any proofs?
23.
Yeah. I just saw that. I thought I eliminated it. I must have brought it back in on reconsidering. All right, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplements. Angle 3 and angle 4 are supplements. If measure 1 equals measure 3 equals 27, find 2 and 4. So measure 1 and measure 3 are the exact same and they're 27. So I'll write that in. This is 27. This is 27. Find the measure of angle 2. Well, 2 is just going to be 180 minus 27, right? Because these two together have to equal 180, so it's just 180 minus 27, which is going to be 153. Can you specify a question on that one, I guess?
Oh, I think when I saw it was really big and it kind of I think it kind of usually when I see problems with a lot a really big problem, I think that just kind of confused me a lot.
You got to break them down because it really is a small question. Because the next one says if measure 1 equals measure 3 equals x. So if this is x and this is x, they have to add together to make 180. So 2 plus 1 has to equal 180. So 2 is just going to be 180 minus x. So will 4. 4 is going to be the exact same thing as 2. So it says if two angles are congruent, must their supplements be congruent? Yes?
No.
Let me just put this here. So if 1 and 3 are the same size, does that mean 2 and 4 must be the same size?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. There's nothing, and that boils down to this 180 minus whatever this is. These are the exact same equation. That's all they're getting to. All right. 3 says copy everything shown, complete the proof. Given that measure of angle 2 is congruent to measure of angle 3, prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. Did they say? Oh, is this part of the proof? Oh, okay. I should probably take that picture. So I think that's why I put it on there because it's a pretty short proof. Because our first one is it's not given. We kind of skipped. We went number 2 is our given. So angle 1 equals angle 2 because of what? What kind of angles are they when they're across from each other?
Vertical.
They're vertical. They're vertical angles. So you can just put definition of vertical angles. That's what I put. You can just put vertical angles. I'm not worried about what you put here, as long as you realize they're vertical angles. And then it says angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. Well, that was given. 3 is congruent to 4. That once again is vertical angles. And if 1 equals 2 and 2 equals 3 and 3 equals 4, it's that big train of things going on. So we can go right to our answer that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. Yes?
I was confused because in the online answers, it's
Did it give like a theorem or something?
yeah, well, vertical angles theorem, which made sense, but
Yeah.
I didn't use that because I didn't see this part. When I just had that
Mm-hmm.
proof, so I did pretty much the same thing, but for the last part, I used substitution because I substituted because that measuring 2 equals I did different things. I did measure of angle 2 is
If you said substitution, I'm okay with that. because you're substituting stuff in. You really are. Transitive property is a substitution property. What else did you, because you had to use vertical angles.
I did that for those two.
Oh, okay.
Given.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, and you didn't have to do it in this proper order. I would have listed the given,
Yeah.
and then I would listed my 2 vertical angles, and then I would have skipped to that step and said substitution's fine, because you're substituting one number in for another number. It's just generally when you do this, when you have to go from here to here to here, it's 3 big steps. It's generally transitive's a better solution to it, but I would accept substitution. Okay, does that answer your question, Sabrina, on this one? Okay, other questions? Going once? Going twice? Sold. Okay. Today we're gonna continue on complementary and supplementary. Just remember that complementary means that it equals 90 degrees, and supplementary means it equals 180 degrees. They don't have to necessarily be adjacent. It is just any 2 angles that add up to 90, or 2 angles that add up to 180. All right, our first question is, if angle A and angle B are supplementary, find the values of x. We're supposed to find the value of x, measure of angle A, and measure of angle B. So we kind of have to find 3 things. So the first one says measure of angle A equals 2x, and measure of angle B equals 2x plus 20. Well, the directions say they're supplementary. So if I add the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B, supplementary means they're going to add up to 180 degrees. Well, it's set up here that measure of angle A actually equals 2x. So I'm going to replace 2x, or substitute 2x in for measure of angle A. And then I'm going to substitute in 2x plus 20 for measure of angle B. And that equals 180. I'm going to combine like terms, and I'm going to subtract that 20 from both sides. All in kind of one step. So that's going to give me 4x equals 160. Divide both sides by 4. And we should come out to x equals 40. I'll just leave it in degrees since we started with degrees. Alright, I know x equals 40. How am I going to get measure of angle A? It's a tough one. Tough one. Yeah.
2 times 40.
2 times 40. Yep. I'm going to show a little bit more work. I'm going to say, measure of angle A equals 2 times x, which is the exact same thing as 2 times 40. So the measure of angle A equals 40. Same thing with measure of angle B. Bless you.
Thank you.
That's going to equal 2 times 40 plus 20. Did I make a mistake somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
When
2
you-
times 40
Is 80. It is definitely 80. Turns out, right? Turns out that's 80. Let's not make that mistake in this one. 2 times 40 is 80 plus 20 equals 40, right? Or 100.
Oh gosh, I probably.
Nope, first one should be 80, next one should be 100. I'm going to call her after this. Okay, I'm going to skip this one for right now. I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to do if they're complementary. If they're complementary, I believe yours has a line on it. Mine doesn't. I think you should have that line that kind of cuts it off. Yeah.
What am I use the rest of?
Hurry up. So we're going to have measure of angle A plus measure of angle B. Since it's complementary this time, it's going to equal 90 degrees. Replace measure of angle A with 3x. So we'll have 3x plus whatever B is, and that is x plus 2 equals 90 degrees. Once again, I'm going to combine like terms and I'm going to subtract in the same step. So that's going to be 4x equals 88 degrees. So x is just going to equal 22 degrees. That's one of my answers. To get my measure of angle A, I'm just going to plug that 22 in for that x. So measure of angle A equals 3x. That's going to equal 3 times 22 degrees, which is just going to equal 22 degrees, right? It's 66. I got it now. I got what's happening now. All right, measure of angle B. Ooh, I don't have much room. Let's just skip writing the whole thing out. It's just going to be 22 degrees plus 2 is going to equal 24 degrees. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I have these 2 degrees. How do I know I'm right? How do I know I'm right? Abby, how do I know I'm right if I have 66 and 24? They add up to 90 degrees. And let's just backtrack here. I have 80 and 100, which equals 180. And you guys were mean enough to not let me keep that mistake because I would have caught it. But you guys wouldn't even let me go on. There was so much anger. We would have caught it when we realized it didn't add up to 180, but you didn't let that happen.
Play it off like it was intentional. Yeah.
That's what I always do. Okay. What I want you to do is do the 2 we just missed. If you haven't already, do the 2 we just missed. I will post the answers. In fact, you'll know if you have it right or wrong, because they should add up to 180 and the other one should add up to 90. So those are all our answers. This will be online as well, so you can check the video if you got behind or anything. We're going to get to the more difficult problems, because these can be hard to decipher just because of the word problem type things. So first one starts out, a supplement of an angle is 3 times as large as a complement of that angle. Find the measure of the angle. So the first thing I want to do, I don't know if I want to use angle A or if I want to use X. I'll just use angle A. So we'll let angle, whatever our angle is, we're just going to call it, we'll call it angle A. All right, angle A will just stand for any old angle. They're talking about the supplement, and they're talking about the complement. So we need to have some kind of reference for our supplement. All right, so one last time going over this. So real quick, these were all our answers to those. With these, we have to figure out which one's larger, set them equal to each other. So this one was a supplement of angle is 3 times as large. So the supplement was smaller, so we had to multiply the complement by 3 times. And then we just had to plug our values in that a supplement was 180 minus it, 90 minus it. For the other one, we knew that our supplement was smaller because it said an angle was 3 more than twice. So the supplement was smaller, so we had to multiply the supplement by that 2. And we had to go ahead and add the 3. And then we went through all of these. Are there any questions for me? No? All right, let's go ahead and start our homework. I'm also going to check homework.